Okay, so the first question was, is this possibly a right triangle? And it gave you a clue. In order to be a right triangle, there's two things that have to happen. That has to be a 90-degree angle, of course, right? But then the side that's opposite of the 90-degree angle has to be the longest side. Has to be. If it's not going to be a right triangle. So the question is 15 greater than 2 times the square root of 5? And we don't have calculators at our disposal at the moment, so we have to be able to figure that out. What do you think, Parth?
The missing side is...
Wait, Parth, we're talking about this, Parth. Is 2 root 5 smaller than 15? No.
Wait. Oh, wait. Just a second.
Oh. Well, wait a minute. The square root of 5, isn't that just a little bit bigger than the square root of 4?
Yes.
And the square root of 4 is 2, right? So this is going to be like 2 point something.
Yes.
Right? Times another 2 is going to be 4 point something. 15 is way bigger than that, right? So this is probably a hashtag not to scale, correct? But it's possible that this is a right triangle. Like, that is definitely bigger than this. So that's the hypothesis. So we're good there. Okay. Why do you think I asked you that question? Why do you think that's an important question? What do you think, Diego?
See which side is longer.
Yeah, but why is it important that this has to be longer than that?
If the hypotenuse is not longer
Then
than
it's-
the sides, then it's not a right triangle.
Correct. So the first thing is this really longer? And then there's another reason I had you do that, and that is to keep you thinking about that this is just a number right here. It's irrational. Don't know what it is, but we can estimate it. So you should be able to estimate this kind in your head, like just roughly. Like, is it bigger or smaller than 15? You should be able to figure that out. Okay, and then to figure out the missing side, since it's a right triangle, because it says right there, we use that, right? And here's what I'm going to write it down wrong. Here's what everybody always does wrong. Ready? Here's the wrong part. That's what everybody always does that's wrong. C is the hypotenuse, always and forever, amen. This literally means, this thing right here, it literally means if you make a square out of this side, and you make a square out of this side, and you add those two areas, the area is the same as the square of that side. That's exactly what it means.
Yes.
Okay, so here's what we got. A squared, plus B squared equals C squared. C is 15, right? 15 squared is 225. Okay, so that's 15 squared. Which one do you want to be 2 root 5? A or B? Doesn't matter. Okay, we'll do B. And then you should use parentheses so you don't get yourself all confused.
Yes.
What is 2 root 5 squared? 20. 20. 2 times the square root of 5 times 2 times the square root of 5. That's 2 times, you multiply the rational numbers together first. That's 4. The irrationals make the square root of 25. That's 4 times 5. I think that's 20. Is that 20?
Yes.
I hope it's 20. Okay, so then a squared equals 205. Is that right?
Yes.
So a equals the square root of 205.
And then we simplify it.
Well, if it's possible, is there a perfect square that's a factor of...
But like a number outside and then a radiant or something.
That's what I'm talking about. So we need to check. You're right. If we're not done if this can be simplified. In order to simplify a square root, do you remember you factor the radicand and you look for biggest perfect square. So 5 goes in 41 times, right?
Yes.
41's prime. This is the product of just 2 primes that can't be simplified. So it's irrational, and that's it. The length is square root of 205, whatever that turns out to be.